OCO, free thinkers.
I make you think, yeah. I make you think, I make you think.
Play this. It says Indigenous woman exposes where Europeans originated from. Let me see.
Y'all came here via the Bering Strait. Not even here. Let me help y'all to understand how this really happened. Y'all didn't even come to America.
I believe this is her name. Shout out to Goddess Nicola. I hope that's her. I hope I ain't shouting out the wrong person.
Y'all came to Alaska. And not only did you come from a European territory, because Siberia was taken over by Russia, it became a European territory once you migrated into Alaska, which was also Russian territory, which was also European territory. Y'all came into Alaska and settled there. Do you know Alaska didn't even become a state until 1959? Even if we didn't have any other proof that the black people are indigenous to this land, even if we had no proof, we still were citizens of this land before y'all even were thought to be citizens of this land. Let's get that straight right motherfucking now. Y'all got the term Native Americans by default because y'all settled in a territory that America bought from the Europeans. And speaking of bought, that term $5 Indians is a real historical event. This ain't something we say to get under your skin. This ain't hearsay. Europeans literally bought indigenous ancestry, indigenous lineage for $5. They bought their right to be classified as the indigenous peoples of this land through the government, through pencil whipping. And it was so many of them that they can't even give you an accurate number of how many Europeans purchased that lineage. Are literal Europeans.
They can. Hold on. The Smithsonian got it. They can give an accurate number. The Smithsonian got it, but who also has it is the Mormons, the Latter-day Saints, Ancestry DNA, the owners of the co-owners of AncestryDNA.com. They got them. They also have the number of how many white folks had to subscribe to their true tribe during the 2020 census. And I swear to God, I dare you to ask any of your favorite AI algorithms, what were the results of the 2020 census? And I want them to give you details. Talk to your AI algorithms and see if they were exposed mistakenly. How many whites had to keep it? Okay, let me explain. The 2020 census, white folks were forced to put their tribes where they originally came from all the way on the census. I dare y'all to look this up, y'all. We don't even know I'm talking about where's the results? Why was that not in the news? Why was nobody bigging that up? Because they the minority. Been the minority, but they really the minority now. Why you think they keep making up excuses to bring more foreigners over? You keep bringing East Indians over. You keep bringing the Russians over, the Ukrainians over, Iranians. I'm not saying nothing wrong with these folks. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you keep bringing them over. The reason why is because you classifying them as white on the census. So you trying to manipulate your numbers. But when the 2020 census came around, you got to put that fact on paper is what they made you do. And why you can't see the results right now? As they hiding it from you.
Natives mixed with Europeans. And y'all are Europeans claimed to this land. And y'all don't even realize that. Y'all playing along with this story because it benefits y'all. But when you unravel, when you peel back the layers of this story, it's going to always lead back to y'all not being indigenous to mainland and y'all being only settlers to Alaska via the Bering Strait from Russia, which is still European, even though you have Asian ancestry. By nationality, you are European. Y'all wasn't even mainland. Then you had the audacity to say, well, we still speak our native tongue and have our customs. Do you? Because Alaskans speak a different native tongue than the original indigenous languages.
There are hundreds of dialects in the indigenous languages of this land, and only one is similar to Alaskan dialect, and that's Navajo. None of them share similarities to any Siberian dialects. Woo! Uh-oh. Who is this sister? Did I shout her out? Goddess Nicola? I hope that's you. Uh-oh. Woo! Okay.
In this land, Iroquois, Suhan,
Woo! Talk!
Muskegon,
Talk!
Algonquin.
Talk!
None of those dialects have any similarities.
Woo!
Any similarities to
Hold on, what?
Set it on fire.
Oh, no.
Fire.
Oh, no.
Siberian dialects, any of the Siberian dialects, or any of the Alaska dialects. And even now, majority of y'all speak Navajo, which comes from that Alaskan dialect, which is not indigenous to this land. It's not indigenous to mainland United States. It's indigenous to Alaska, which has been European territory.
Hold on. I'm gonna give y'all a hint. Remember that? I wish I could find that video. Man, but y'all should recall. Oh, wait a minute. It could be in one of these videos I'm getting ready to play, but it was a lady that was exposing the Navajo Nation. Y'all remember that one? And she was exposing how they not from this landmass. Hey, look, and she claimed that she was of Asian descent. Their own people calling them out, y'all.
Both pre-colonization.
Yep, that's right. And she looked like them too. That's correct. That is correct. She so did. The one that I'm referring to, yeah. That called them out. That called out the Navajo. Let me come back.
The Bering Strait from Russia, which is still European, even though you have Asian ancestry. By nationality, you are European.
Does anybody have a problem with what she's saying? I'm looking at the chat.
Then you have the audacity to say, well, we still speak our native tongue and have our customs. Do you? Because Alaskans speak a different native tongue than the original indigenous languages in this land. Iroquois, Suhan, Muskegon, Algonquin. None of those dialects have any similarities to Siberian dialects, any of the Siberian dialects, or any of the Alaska dialects. And even now, majority of y'all speak Navajo, which comes from that Alaskan dialect, which is not indigenous to this land. It's not indigenous to mainland United States. It's indigenous to Alaska, which has been European territory, both pre-colonization of the Americas. What native tongue? Y'all speaking y'all native tongue? You fucking right. Y'all speaking y'all native tongue. Alaskan. Alaska didn't even become a state until 1959. Let's be real. The classification came at a default because the United States claimed that territory, purchased the Alaskan territory, and y'all are from Alaska. Y'all not even from mainland. Y'all didn't even become citizens in this country until 1959. We were citizens in this country. Black people were citizens in this country in 1868.
The sister misspoke right here, not 59. I want to say it was either in the late 1910s or like the late 1920s. It was a little earlier than what she's stating. But she probably get hyped, you know, and misspoke right there. But that was, you know, she said 1924. She said 1924. She said 59. Am I tripping? Hold on.
This country in 1868.
No, go back. Oh, she said my bad. Okay, she did post that. 1924. I was about to say. Okay. All right, bet.
Citizens in this country, black people were citizens in this country in 1868. Y'all don't even have a claim above us to this land. What are y'all fighting for? To be called Native Americans? Y'all can be called Native. We don't give a fuck about y'all, but we don't want to be Native Americans. Then my thing is, why y'all ain't fight for y'all lands? And y'all created all these treaties with the United States government. Why one of those treaties wasn't to give y'all back the rights to y'all land?
Right.
Y'all didn't fight for that. You know what your ancestors fought for? To get a piece of land, to get a reservation, to get a spot that's specifically for you.
And they didn't even fight for that. That was the government handing them land and saying, all right, this is where you have to stay now. This is reserved for your people. Here, another concentration camp.
To make sure that the United States government provided y'all with food, with housing, with jobs, with a little
and
money.
Education.
Then y'all got some casinos and half of y'all don't even show up for work. Let's be for real. I know. I done been to them. My daddy worked for one right month. Well, he retired out of it. Y'all don't even show up. Y'all literally scumbags in y'all own community. Let's be real. As a people,
and they
as a
ran
community,
down.
y'all
That's
not
true.
even building yourselves up. Y'all not doing nothing that is indigenous like. Y'all ain't doing no sacred shit.
Not at all. They just
Y'all
copying
sitting on
each
the
other.
reservations, eating off our backs like them Europeans. And the only thing that y'all fought for was to make sure that they took care of y'all and that they ain't call y'all Indians. Because as y'all said, Indians was a derogatory term. And you want to know why Indians was a derogatory term to y'all Europeans? Because Indians closely related to Negro.
That's right. They didn't want to see. That's a very good point. That's a very good point. Thank you. Thank you. Shout out to the sister. That is a very good point. Shout out to the goddess Nicola. That is a very good point. That was the reason why y'all didn't want to be called Indian. But at the same time, the main reason was because you're not an Indian. The Negro and the Indian go hand in hand because that's what the Indians were misclassified as. It went from Indian to colored to Negro. That's by documentation. It never went from Indian to colored to Native American. It never went that route, ever. Actually, when y'all on TikTok and stuff like that and people be saying that we trying to claim that we Native Americans, please straighten them out. No, we not. We don't want to be like them. They want to be like us. Let's let that be known. Let's make that clear. They still want to be like us, just like everybody else. Why you think they copying everything that we do? Look at that. That's how you could tell that we the chosen people. They copying our heritage. They copying our name. They copying our style. They copying, look, even our clothing style. Our talking style, our walking style, our singing style, our rhyming style, our dancing styles. So many different, they copy everything, right? Yes, we are the chosen. And look, when I say that, that doesn't mean that you are cursed. That means that they lied to you and told you that you were cursed, so you won't ever fight back. No, you are not cursed. These people are not even supposed to be celebrating an Indigenous day because they're not indigenous to this land. And that's the true history. They're not. Never was, never have been, nowhere near. That's not to say that foreigners didn't come over here. No, I'm not saying that. But I'm telling you, the foreigners that did come over here did not come over here in a large mass to the point where they saying, yeah, we the same people. It didn't work like that. Before the Europeans' arrival, or before the foreigners' arrival, it was a little bits and pieces of foreigners coming over here because we were trading with them. We were trading commerce. That's why they created that building first, didn't they? At the same time they created the census, they created this, the War Department created the Commerce and Trade and created eugenics buildings. At the same time, this was all designed to help them out, not us. We were already together. They were stealing our land and giving it to the incoming foreigners. It's time, y'all. And not only am I just saying this, I'm also showing it in documentary format. So if you ever decide to go back and watch my documentary style videos where you hear me narrating, you will learn. Right, and the Siberians are not from this landmass. We already know that. And the DNA told you that. Let me see if I can quickly find that because they exposed themselves with the DNA. When it comes to that point, they exposed themselves. Let me see if I can quickly find that. Give me a second. All right, PBS. DNA traces Native Americans' ancestry to Siberia. February 13, 2014. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. This information is out there. And keep in mind, this is not even what I was referring to. I actually have more in-depth information than just this article. So but what I did was, all right, let me quickly grab an article so you can see this. This is, you guys are from, you're not from here. You're not. They're already telling you that. The Smithsonian saying the same thing. Here go the Smithsonian. And look, just recently, 2023, ancient DNA charts Native Americans' journeys to Asia thousands of years ago. You're not indigenous to this landmass. You're Eurasian. And everybody was getting on me about the term Eurasian. Eurasia. I told you that they still using that term. I've been told you that. But that's what they are. They're from that land. Look, analysis of 10 Eurasian individuals. Look at that. They're using it too. This is the Smithsonian. Right here, this is a real article. This is not a game. And I was about to show you documentation, but let me, for right now, since I can't pull it up fast enough, let me show you these articles. Y'all not from here. Y'all always want to know where your people came from. They telling you where your people came from. You're not from here. In order for you to celebrate Indigenous Day, your family's ancestry got to trace back to here. That's how it's got to be. Look at this. March 6, 2025. Oh, let me pull this up. Look at this. March 6, 2025, right here. Scientists discover ancient Siberian population that is the ancestors of modern Native American. Bruh, let me drop a bomb. I ain't even pull up the documentation. They got this all over the place. So look, let's go back. So that's 2014, 2023, and this was 2025. 2025. That's a lie. If it's a lie, prove them wrong. Prove them wrong. You got to come at the ATI, the Smithsonian, and PBS. Don't talk to me, talk to them. They telling you where your folks from. These DNA results have changed the way scientists are thinking about the migratory patterns of ancient populations. They're exposing that your people are not from here. I've been telling you. I got in trouble when I posted it. When I put out my documentaries on it, they tried to sue my ass. They was like, oh, hell nah, he talk about us. No, we're not all mixed. Prove that we are all mixed. Please do. Prove it. My mother and father from this land. Their mothers and fathers are from this land. Their mothers and fathers from this land. Their mothers and fathers from this land. And their mothers and fathers from this land. And their mothers and fathers from. Prove that we all mixed, please. All mixed. Prove it. I'll wait for a little second. Genealogists are telling you, right? Scientists discover ancient Siberian population that is the ancestors of modern Native Americans. You the one that's mixed. You gonna learn today. There's no point in fighting with me about your history. I didn't write it. I didn't create it. I'm not out here downing your history. I'm out here telling you your history. They lied to you. And I also told you about the term Native. Anybody could be Native. Anybody. As soon as two Africans migrate to America and make a baby in America and have a child in America, birth a baby in America, that baby is not only African, but native to America. That's why you need to stop using that term. And I'm talking to my people. Y'all should not be using the term native because that's everybody included. Same thing with the term black. That's everybody included. That's not one group of people. That's all groups of people. Why you think they changed the term indigenous people to indigenous peoples? They want to add in more people. That's not supposed to be there. You seeing the pattern yet? It's right in front of you. And look, if you mixed, there's nothing wrong with being mixed. But that doesn't mean you know your whole story because it's mixed up. You got bits and pieces of the truth mixed up with a whole lot of lies. Just because you're mixed breed doesn't mean that your entire bloodline is. That's not how it works. Like if I was to turn around and marry a white woman, that doesn't mean my entire bloodline has white blood or whatever you want to call it. That's not a part of the bloodline. That person was just married in. Even if we was to have children, that still doesn't make the bloodline, the entire bloodline, mixed. What about my skin tone? What about it? My father's light skin and so is my mother. Well, my mother's brown skin. My father's light skin. What? I know her mother and father. I know his mother and father. What? And ain't no white in my family. So what you trying to say? If skin tone had something to do with it, in which it doesn't, because actually it's the problem now. You're referring to yourself by way of a skin tone that doesn't even exist. Nobody over here is black in skin tone. So why are we calling ourselves black people? I'm a lighter shade of the color brown. If we're going by way of color, yeah, I'm a lighter shade of the color brown. They could be lighter than me of the shade or the color brown. Then it could be darker. Look, brown, not black, brown, right? Not black, brown. So what's the point? For example, let's just say that I share the same facial features as an African. That doesn't make me an African, because there are white people that share the same facial features as us, and that doesn't make them us. We can tell the difference. Yeah, that's what's crazy. When people out there immediately think light skin means mixed. That's not what that means. That's what they told you, but that was never proven. I went back generations of my family, and I seen who was being married and or having children. I seen who it was. All we had was high yellows and dark skins and brown skins. That's a country term. When we say high yellow, that just means you a lighter brown. That's it. Now, if I had white in my blood, I would tell you. Or bloodline, I would tell you. But no, Caucasians are not that big of a race to be mixing with everybody. And then they gave you an excuse for that. They said everybody got the R word, right? Back in the day during slavery, everybody was R word. And that's a lie. Just think about that. They gonna say that the slave masters was R-wording our women back then. That's a lie. You know that's a lie. They wouldn't be doing that right now. They know better, because guess what's gonna happen? That needy woman will pick something up and stab that person and get them up out of there. It ain't gonna be no okay. It ain't gonna be no okay. As hard as our women be going right now, you think they wasn't going hard back then? And then on top of that, you had males there. And you think they not gonna tell our males that were there? And they gonna turn around and fight back? Not everybody was house Negroes. We had a lot of field Negroes, right? Just like they tried to claim that everybody was lynched. And that's a lie. You could look up the records and find out how many people were. And it was just not our people. It was plenty of people being hung because they were going against what the government was trying to implement, which was desegregation. They tried to get it early. The only time desegregation worked, real talk, unfortunately, was in the 1960s when our people got heavily involved, clinging on to that term black. I showed y'all that. Once we desegregated, that was the problem right there. We lost everything. But that doesn't mean that it's permanent. So there is a way to regain what we had. You black, or then you're invincible. Nobody can see you if you claim that you black. You're nothing, because it doesn't mean a thing. Before there was black, there was Negro. Before there was Negro, it was colored. Before there was colored, it was Indian. Now I'm skipping a few other terms that they utilize, but I'm getting to a point. The whole point is that the person, or the classification that they are misrepresenting you as, means that you can only be who you are. because they shouldn't be determining who you are. They should not have the option to classify you as whatever they want it to be. You're supposed to know who you are. So if you come up on here and say that I'm black, that just still means that you're indoctrinated. That still means that you don't know better. That still means that you don't care what your ancestors fought and died for. And it wasn't just about identity at that time, it was about this landmass. It was more groups than just so-called white people coming over here trying to live, seeking asylum, seeking to start over. They called this area the New World because it was new to them based off of the conditions that they were in their motherland. This is not their motherland. Not this part. That's correct. Black is a status up under this government. That means that the government does not see you, doesn't care how many cries and how many marches, how many flyers, how many posters, how many hashtags, how much police brutality, environmental racism. They don't care because you classified yourself as black.
We got a black male, blah, blah, blah.
We got a black male.
6'2", 220, blah, 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 blah.
Black male. That's a negative connotation. You have to disassociate yourself with these terms that your enemies created for you. That was your enemy that created that term for you. That wasn't your people. Look, even if they share the same skin complexion as you and I, that's still not your people. You're dead to them. That's why they calling you black. You're nothing. You're dead to them. They don't look at you the same. In my previous documentary on the terms black and white, I exposed that they were utilizing the term white for everybody who they determined to be a citizen of America. Go back on my video. They were already using the term white as the only status that you can utilize to be considered a citizen of the United States from 1790 to 1952. And all they did with the Immigration Act in 1952 was added in more foreigners. It's still the same way today. That's right, you're civilly dead because you clinging onto that misnomer. There's nothing black about you. You loud and proud, but if you shut all the lights out, you will only see darkness. So if you can't see anything, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't hear anything. But why would they pay attention to something that they can hear but can't see? Especially when they don't have to. That's because you're not forcing the issue. You think that your voice counts when you're voting. No, it doesn't. Name a law right now that was passed in our favor. And I dare you to say any law during the civil rights movement. I dare you. Dane, so you telling me black is not power? Where's the power in black? For example, if we got our electricity on, God forbid, a bad storm come and cut your electricity out and everything is black, where's the power? Where's the power in that? They said black power years ago. Show me an example of black power. If you had power, you would have your own government. If you had power, you would have your own currency. If you had power, you would have ownership over everything that you ever associated yourself with. There's no power in black, it's only power in unity. Why you think they want us to promote the riffraff within our music that we listen to? At first, our music had messages, right? Because they knew power was in unity. And now, our brothers and sisters are what? Fighting and killing each other by way of wordplay. Because those are affirmations being stated as chants out loud. And what does the universe do? Listen to it and make it their reality. So you won't ever have unity. And yeah, they got control over the music, don't they? It ain't our people controlling it. And look, and our own people allowing foreigners to come up in here and say the N-word that, the N-word this, like they can relate to us. I'm talking about complete Foreigners are coming over here calling us the N-word, using the N-word and everything. Everything cool. Ain't nobody saying nothing. They letting it slide. It's in their music. We don't have a committee that's out there that has black power enough, listen, to shut that down like the FCC. Do they? Do we have that? Notice how we can say the term nigga on YouTube and they don't do anything. We can say it on Twitch. They don't do anything. We can say it online. They don't do anything. Because that's what they want you to believe that you are. Niggardly, an extremely stingy person. That's where it came from. It had nothing to do with your skin complexion. It was all about your actions. You didn't want to give up the land to foreigners. Your ancestors didn't. That's why they called you niggardly, an extremely stingy person. And then later on down the line, y'all can recall that we called each other Indian giver, right? When we was in school, the teachers made us sit in Indian style, right? Where you think it came from? When I say that they copy from us, I mean that. Blackface. That was white people wanting to get along with us, so they created their own comedic way of talking about themselves and our people. It wasn't blackface to make fun of us, it was blackface to make fun of them and us so they could fit in, just like any other comedian would. You scroll on YouTube Shorts right now and run into a white comedian, you gonna listen. You run into a Chinese comedian, you gonna listen. See, because laughter is one of the highest forms of positive energy. And they knew that back then, and they used it to their advantage. They were clowning around. Y'all took this serious. But Jump Jim Crow was a song all about so-called black and white people and making fun of both of them. I showed you that. That's on my channel as well. Showed you the real deal. That's on my channel as well, by documentation. Wait, I'm sorry. That one's not on my channel. That's on my website. I apologize. That's on my website, ain't it? Hold on. No. I think that's on my website, DaneMakeYouThink.com. That's one of the documentaries on my website, if I'm not mistaken. Like, y'all see that little bar at the bottom? I mean that. The Biological Warfare is a documentary. It was told in reverse as a book. Don't forget, y'all, I have books and documentaries. And on my website, it indicates what you're purchasing. I don't know why certain people were saying, hey man, I'm waiting for my book to come, and you purchased the documentary. Read, people. I clearly show you what you're purchasing. I'm not in business to do business that way. That's not what I'm here for. I want you to learn and get this information, okay? But yes, it clearly states if it's a book or not. You got to pay attention to that. I saw a couple people saying that. I'm like, what are you doing? Even in the description of it and everything. Come on, you're not reading. You're moving too quick. I understand that you want that, that you want that information quick, but come on now. Because then you gonna put it back on me like it was my fault. You was, Dane, I'm waiting on my book. I go to your order. I'm like, wait a minute, you didn't order no book. You ordered a doc. Where is it? It's in your email. It was sent to you the same day you purchased it. Please read, people. Dang, I remember old school Indian burn. Yep, for twisting the arm skin. That's right, Indian burn. When when they twist your arm. Yep, I'm doing it right now, thinking I'm on camera. I'm not on camera, but you're right. I remember that, absolutely. Yeah, you got Mother Rosa. Yeah, Mother Rosa was very good, very good. The teacher in the house, I appreciate you, Firebird. A shout out to you too. You be doing your thing. I heard some events coming. And speaking of events are coming. I'm about to move on to the next video, but y'all gotta, like, if y'all wanna be with like-minded people, y'all gotta get inside of the community server. But Dane, I'm not tech savvy. Well, how you get on YouTube then? You ain't tech savvy. How you on Instagram then? You ain't tech savvy. How you on TikTok then? But you ain't tech savvy. Hey, get inside of the 13% community server so you could talk to me and other people that's just like me, brothers and sisters. See, it's about unifying. It's not because we black. It's because we need to unify. Y'all tripping. Y'all think we supposed to be unifying because of the skin complexion. There's a lot of people out there that share our same skin complexions, but don't have our best interests in mind. You understand what I'm saying? We shouldn't be linking up with everybody. We only need 13% of our, we only need 13% of our vote to get together and unify, and everybody else gonna follow suit, cause they ain't gonna have no choice. If you about that type business and you wanna stand on it, meet me in there. I wanna see some builders build. Yes, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. Ain't that, see, now you know why it's being said that way. All skin folk ain't kinfolk. Everybody done heard that. But if there's some folks out there that don't even look, that don't even share your same skin complexion, ain't gonna support you. If there's some folks out there that's like that, good. And it doesn't matter what, you know, their skin complexion. But there was people out there that we're referring to that wants to tell us about our history. Meanwhile, their folks ain't from this landmass. Paleo-Siberian types. Kick rocks. If you're European and you disagree with us claiming our indigenous heritage, kick rocks. We know what a Euro is, we know what a peon is. So if you want to talk about any form of slavery, we can start right there.
OCO Freethinkers.
I make you think, yeah. I make you think, I make you think, yeah. I make you think, yeah. I made you think, yeah. I made you think, I make you think, yeah. I make you
He's
think.
here to make you think.
I make you think, yeah. I make you think, I make you think, yeah. I make you think, yeah. I made you think, yeah. I made you think, I make you think.
It's Dane, Calloway.